Hi guys, I'm Alana Joachim, and this is my audience of 5 people. Now, I'm going to start my speech. It's your constant companion, and I would say a majority of people feel incomplete without it. Let's face it, your cell phone is most likely with you 24/7. It's probably with you right now. Whether it's in your pocket, your hands, next to your head, or on the table, it's right there with you. If you're anyone like me, you're on your cell phone more than you talk to people face to face. I'm on it right before I go to sleep and even first thing when I wake up in the morning. Truth be told, cell phones are highly damaging and cause health risks. Let's look more into this. After a lot of research, I found that cell phones are damaging because of the radiation they emit, the cause of depression and anxiety for some people, an increase in chronic pain, and I think most importantly to acknowledge is that they are a major strain on relationships. According to the American Cancer Society, they emit radiofrequency energy, which can be easily absorbed through the tissues close to the phone, which would be your hands from texting so much and your head from always talking on the phone. Although the science is still out there that there's long-term damages of cell phones, the California Department of Public Health has shown that there's some lab experiments that say that high use of cell phones are linked to certain types of cancers because of this kind of radiation. This could cause some people to have brain cancer, tumors, headaches, and problems with learning, memory, hearing, and sleeping. Sadly, though, we don't know all of the risks involved because cell phones haven't been around enough to track people who use it from their very young an age until they're very old. Not only are there terrible physical issues a concern, but there have also been many studies cited by Medical Daily that prove how young adults use their cell phones as a crutch when socializing, which could eventually lead to depression and anxiety. Kids who are more likely to use their cell phones in social situations are at an increased risk for depression and anxiety. In fact, Health Day News reported with a study of over 300 college students that young adults have been using technology as a security blanket. They use the technology to deal with bad experiences and unpleasant feelings. The constant use of laptops and phones makes it easier for teens like us to disconnect from their problems and avoid their stresses altogether. Unfortunately, I know that my friends and I are guilty of this as well. When we don't feel like going out one night or even just not doing homework, we just sit on our cell phones and watch Netflix, scroll through social media, or even text each other from 5 feet away. Once you think about it though, it's actually sad how we use our cell phones even when we're with our closest friends. Also, there is for sure an increased risk for chronic pain. Obviously, if someone's always on their cell phone when they're using them, they're constantly using their hands too. Well, through my research on Business Insider, I found that texting and responding to messages so fast can lead to pain and inflammation in the joints in your hands, as well as back and eye pain. This is because most people arch their backs in a weird way and hold their bodies in strange positions when using their cell phones. According to CBS, there is even such a condition known as texting thumb. It's pain that happens from repetitive movements of the thumb and is actually known as tendinitis. More and more people have been complaining to their doctors about this, but Mayo Clinic says it happens when you're using your hands abnormally, which is when you text. Their best advice, though, is to take a break from texting so often. Also, according to WebMD, staring at your phone constantly can lead to vision problems because you're always forced to squint, which strains your eyes a lot. Lastly, though, and most importantly, it has a terrible effect on relationships, whether it be with your friends, significant others, or family. Let's face it, cell phones are extremely distracting. You're constantly getting emails, texts, calls, FaceTimes, and then of course all the social media notifications. Everyone gets so wrapped up in our digital lives that we forget to put the real world in front of the virtual world. These cell phones have completely gotten in the way of relationships because we always forget to live in the moment. When you're with a friend but you're always on your phone, you might as well just be alone and not with that person at all. Not only is the behavior rude, but it damages relationships all the time. Instead of talking face-to-face with friends, we just hide behind text messages and social media posts. The worst, though, is when you're at a restaurant or anywhere else in public, and you look around and no one is speaking to each other. They're all just on their phones and ignoring people that they're with. Last weekend, I was at a concert, and instead of everyone actually listening to the artist playing his songs, they were taking videos and pictures. I'm sure a majority of the people weren't even there because they liked his songs, but because they wanted to post it on their social media. It was honestly sad seeing everyone on their phones the whole time so they can post on Instagram and Snapchat. Of course, it's cool to look back on those memories when you're not in the moment, but what's the point if you're not even experiencing it then? The good thing is that many restaurants and coffee shops have realized this is a common issue and stopped installing Wi-Fi as long as TVs in their shops. They're basically forcing people to talk to each other when they're in their establishments. Just yesterday, my sister and mom went to a restaurant and they didn't have TV or Wi-Fi installed. My sister asked the waiter why they didn't have them, and she simply responded with, "We want our customers to talk to each other when they come to our establishments." So, I know you're probably asking yourself right now, what's the best way to solve this problem? Well, obviously it would be almost impossible for people to completely stop using their cell phones, but I suggest that we can work on decreasing the amount of time we use them and how we use them. I found some ways we can use them correctly and came up with a few suggestions based on the American Cancer Society. First, we can keep them away from our body when not in use to stop the radiation. Also, we don't have to sleep with them right next to us or press them against our head when we're using them. Most importantly, we can use them less frequently. Some rules I thought of were to establish a rule in your house so you don't use them after a certain time of night, don't use them at meals, and also you can download an app to monitor how much you actually do use your phone. One app I found from the New York Times is extremely cool and helpful. It's called Moment. It's an app you can find on the iOS Apple Store, and it automatically tracks how much you use your iPhone every day. It's even cool because if you're using it too much, you can set daily limits on yourself and be told when you go over. This forces yourself off your cell phone when you're over that time limit. Their goal is to teach yourself how to use cell phones less and create a new relationship with your phone. I think it's pretty awesome, and it should be automatically installed in everyone's phones when they go buy them. So just imagine, you wake up one morning and the first thing you do is read a book or even work out instead of reaching for that cell phone. After, you can enjoy a cup of tea or coffee and relax in your bed. This can be a start of a new beginning instead of being bombarded by constant communication and notifications. Wouldn't it feel so good to relax and not be worried about all the texts you received last night and this morning? You can feel completely at peace and focus on the now instead of the past and future. I recently challenged myself to go phone-free in the morning and right before I go to sleep. Of course, it was really hard at first, but then I realized how much I use my phone as a crutch and realized it was time to make a change. Now, I never use my phone in the morning and I feel more at peace. But, like breaking any habit, it will be difficult at first and eventually turn to second nature. So, after listening to my speech, I urge you to spend less time glued to your cell phone and especially take advantage of the app called Moment. Like I said before, you can keep them away when you're not using them. Don't sleep with it next to you and don't press it against your head. Instead of pressing it against your head, you can use earbuds, speakerphone, or put it 1 inch from your ear. Lastly, I think it's a great idea to create rules in your household so you don't use it past a certain time, and especially at meal times. Please, get in the habit of living in the moment and lessening the use of your cell phones. Thank you for listening.